Hey everyone, welcome to this new moon Sidereal Astrology report for Thursday, April 7th of 2016. I'm Athen, and this is for Sidereal. If you are new to the channel, be sure to check out the link because the signs are different. All right, so we have a new moon in Pisces here today, and this is all about that spiritual energy that we've been working with for quite some time with the sun already in Pisces. We've had Venus here, we've had Mercury in here for quite some time, but Mercury's recently shifted into fiery Aries, which I'll talk more about here in just a second. But in terms of this Pisces, this is all about that inner peace and finding that there is this wanting of the deep self to have completion. The self wanting to have completion, all layers of it. But the thing is the outer layers of the self might be trying to find that completion in the material world, right? And of course, that can't happen. That doesn't exist. And so the true essence of finding that completion is actually an inner process, right? And it's realizing that it's actually a process that's just accessing what's already there. You know, we already are complete. We already are connected to all that is, to God. And in the present moment, it's just a matter of remembering that and accessing that. And in that sense, this is where the true inner completion can really be. That feeling of merging with all. And that's what these new beginnings are all about, is finding the peace that comes along with that. And to do that, sometimes it does take letting go, especially on those outer layers of the self. Letting go of the things that we may think or may have thought would lead to a type of peace or completion, but is just another external thing, right? And something that doesn't have that true essence in it. And searching in the external for this type of happiness, this type of completion just doesn't happen. It doesn't exist. So it's an inner process. It's going within. It's establishing that connection with God, with the present moment. And there's a tremendous peace in that. So that's the new beginning in terms of this, right? And this new moon is going to be forming a few very important aspects, one of which is conjoining up to Uranus, which we'll feel as we approach the weekend. So with this one, first of all, there can be a lot of insights. And this has been Uranus already in Pisces, showing us the immense freedom that does come from accessing the present moment. And with the sun here, though, there can be a very strong sense of uniqueness, very strong sense of individuality, of individualism. And it's great to access that uniqueness. But again, this is a very deep type of uniqueness, right? This is the fact that we are unique in our expression of that divinity, of that essence, of that source. And it's through, again, accessing that source that we can find this freedom of individuality, of uniqueness, of being our true self. That spiritual true self that we are. But sometimes with Uranus too, especially because we are involving the second aspect here, square up to Pluto, which has been this ongoing theme between Pluto squaring up to Uranus, is wanting to break free. Wanting to break free. But again, the breaking free happens within. And this is what Pisces shows us, is that it's an internal process. Now, in terms of Pluto, this can mean some maybe deep psychological habit patterns, destructive patterns in our life that may be brought to the surface at this time that we can transform. And sometimes there are challenges that they present. And this one exact yesterday, but it's still very much an orb with this new moon. So what comes to the surface? What challenges in terms of maybe with power or with wanting to control things in our life? That helps us see exactly where we might be holding on to, where we might be holding on tightly, and where these old habit patterns might exist. And so it's all about breaking free from them and finding the tremendous liberation from relinquishing that power, that control, and breaking those habit patterns. Okay, so it's very deep in that sense. This is a very deep new moon. But again, the key to all of it is connecting to that presence, letting go, surrendering, realizing that life is, of course, flowing in a direction that's much larger than us. And it's flowing with that through letting go. Now, this new moon does trine up to Saturn, so there is support with it. This is particularly in the sense of perhaps some discipline, perhaps some wanting structure and stability in our life, which is great. And we can really strive for that. We can work on that. That's what Saturn represents, is actually working on it. So it's a good time for achievement. And we could be feeling perhaps quite comfortable with the seriousness of a fucus. You know, with the serious, deep truths of life, which is good. We have that stability there. Now, a lot of that's reflective because Saturn is retrograde. So it's good to be reflecting on what is really meaningful, what really matters to us in life, and establishing those foundations and, again, achieving them. So that's what Saturn is. It's climbing the mountain of achievement, of success. And of course, this isn't just of the material type. This is success of what matters most and building that, cultivating that. So that's the new moon in a nutshell. You can see here in the transit graph, we don't have any other aspects going exact. These are the lunar aspects associated with that new moon in sequence. Again, that sun squaring up to Pluto is still very strong today from yesterday, making that deep change with the psyche, deep change with those patterns so we can have that spiritual freedom, that liberation. The moon does go void, of course, in the second half of the day. So really adding to the fact that this is a reflective time. And that's really what we want to do during a new moon, is reflect. We may feel like there's some new beginnings and planting some new seeds, and that can be great. But of course, remembering that it's still very new. It's important to be malleable, to try new things, be willing to go into new directions without being fixed in that sense. And that's the immutable energy of Pisces too. Again, going with the flow. So that's the new moon, a connection to that presence, connection to God, finding the completion that, of course, exists in the spiritual realm, in the essence of us, and that we're already connected to it, and just remembering that and allowing ourselves to do that. But of course, all those layers want to hold on. And so letting go, I think, is very important with all of this, to find that true inner peace. All right, so I hope you guys have a fantastic new moon. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow.